We have a massive episode of Inside the Lines here, ladies and gentlemen. Multiple teams have announced throwback paint schemes for Darlington Raceway in just a few weeks, including Jimmie Johnson, who released a very special throwback paint scheme honoring two 7-time champions. He also said that he wants to do the Indycar full road course schedule as early as next year. NASCAR teams want the one-day schedule to return next season. And Motorsport Games have said they are done with NASCAR heat and want to start off with a fresh, clean slate. All that and more. We got a lot to talk about here today. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the August 19th episode of Inside the Lines. My name is Jett from MDK. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for today's episode. Before we get into this, guys, if you haven't already, please give a like and subscribe for more content. I took a bit of a break last week. Just things were happening and just wanted to take a rest for a little bit. But now I'm back swinging and I come back with a full plethora of news to talk about here today, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it. We first start off in the world of video games. Obviously, we know NASCAR and NASCAR Heat. Well, they were DMI, and then Duesenbergman Racing, then DMR Racing, and now they're 7-4 games, and now they're Motorsport Games. It's really confusing, but one thing is not confusing, one thing is clear as day is the NASCAR Heat Series. They have been a major flop. I think that is no surprise. While they have gotten better, the NASCAR Heat name or the moniker has been tarnished. It's been dragged through the dirt. And Motorsport Games have announced that their next game, which will be NASCAR 21 or whatever the name may be, will not have the NASCAR Heat moniker in the title. Now, this is to coincide with the announcement that Motorsport Games will not only have the next NASCAR game not have NASCAR Heat in the title, they'll also have a brand new, start from scratch engine package. So they will no longer be using the Unity engine, and that's according to their CEO, Dmitry Kozko. Now, what's also interesting about this is that CEO Kozko has also said that he's been talking with IndyCar to produce a IndyCar game. Now, the last time IndyCar had a fully licensed game to themselves was all the way back in 2005. Since then, I want to say that past 2 or 3 years, they have been appearing in, I guess, sort of DLC packs or, certain cars. For example, in Project Cars 2, Project Cars 3. I could be wrong. I think even in Forza, but I could be wrong about that. They've been appearing in those types of games, but they haven't had a full game to themselves since 2005. And obviously, this would be great for IndyCar. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us NASCAR fans got into NASCAR more than likely because of a video game. Like for me, I knew nothing about NASCAR, but I had NASCAR Thunder 2003. I had NASCAR Thunder 2004. I loved the games, and once I got older and started to learn more about the sport, those video games helped me. And I won't be surprised that if IndyCar were to put out a game themselves, people that might know nothing about IndyCar might buy an indie game, get invested into it, enjoy it, and want to see the real thing. It correlates. If you have fun playing the game, you're going to want to see it in real life. So yeah, this is very good news for NASCAR and IndyCar fans in general. I, for one, have never liked the NASCAR Heat, at least these past couple years. I didn't even buy a NASCAR Heat 5. To me, it's a scam, I feel like. It's not enough features in the game for you to pull out a $59.99 release, and then on top of that, to add DLC packs for you to get even more money. To me, it's just not worth it. So I didn't buy the game, but I've heard a lot of people say it's Heat 4.5, but I'm hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that this next NASCAR game, whether it's NASCAR 21 or whatever the name may be, is a smash hit. I'm also hoping not too long after we might get an IndyCar game in the very near future. And now let's head to our Inside the Lines Rapid Fire. We have 4 stories to talk about here today. Our first story revolves around the plethora of throwback paint schemes all released in one day. We started with Richard Childress Racing and the number 8 car. Tyler Reddick's number 8 Cat Power Chevy scheme. He will run at Darlington Raceway. Is a throwback to the one Jeff Burton accepted Rookie of the Year honors in for the 1995 season. You see him in his Ray Bastos car. Jeff Burton also raced for Richard Childress Racing from 2004, or at least the second half of 2004, all the way up until his retirement from NASCAR in 2013. Kevin Harvick from Stewart-Haas Racing will throw back to the 1997 Busch beer scheme, which, by the way, looks like an absolute beaut. Now, this was during at a time when Busch was the official sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series, which ran from the 90s, and in fact, I think for 80s and 90s all the way up until 2007. Oscar Mayer and Roush Fenway Racing have announced that the number 6 Ford Mustang will match that of driver Ryan Newman's 1999 scheme from the USAC Silver Crown Series, where he won the national championship. And finally, back to Richard Childress Racing, Austin Dillon will throw back to the one and only the last great American hero, Junior Johnson. Very beautiful paint scheme by Richard Childress Racing. In fact, out of all of the paint schemes so far, all of them have been really, really good. I cannot wait to see the remainder of the throwback schemes as we get closer and closer to the Southern 500. Up next, Cole Custer will make laps in the prototype of the NASCAR Next Gen car. That's right, they will make a return at the 1 Mile Delaware track in Dover International Speedway. It puts more production parts into use and tests the high-low conditions of the concrete high banks, and it is the first test of the Next Gen model since the COVID-19 outbreak in March. Rick Ware Racing has secured a 3-year partnership with Preferred Commerce Incorporated and Pinnacle Sports and Entertainment. That Thrive 5 will be a main sponsor for the Rick Ware Racing team in the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series for multiple races from 2020 to 2022. And they will kick off their partnership in this Sunday's Indianapolis 500. Cookout has signed on as the new official fast food restaurant of Darlington Raceway, replacing Bojangles. Cookout gets a couple of asphalt logos, a trackside billboard, and 4 wall signs, plus the right to run Darlington branded point of sale promotions, sweepstakes, and digital campaigns. And finally, Kyle Busch Motorsports announced today that ServPro, a leader and provider of fire and water cleanup and restoration services, and Far Out Toys, a rapidly growing force in the global toy marketplace and manufacturer of NASCAR crash circuit track sets, will serve as co-primary sponsors for Brexton Busch's number 18B beginner box stock. Yes, that's right, Brexton Busch. I think the Kyle Busch posted a video on his YouTube channel of Brexton racing around the dirt track, and he's 5, and he already has 2 sponsors. You know what I was doing when I was 5? When I was 5, what was I doing when I was 5? I was probably getting in trouble a lot at school. I was in the kindergarten. I think I was in the principal's office almost every day. Yeah, and Brexton out here getting sponsorships. Oh my God. Ratings are out from the Daytona road course from Sunday and Saturday's Xfinity and Cup Series races. On Sunday, the Cup Series scored a 3.26 million viewers on NBC, I should say, while the Xfinity Series had just over 1 million, or 1.035 million, on NBCSN for the Xfinity Series on Saturday. Now, this is up. We're going to stick with the Cup Series. This is up from, I believe, 2.7 million on NBCSN from Watkins Glen, which was supposed to take place last Sunday or 2 days ago. So that's how they're going to correlate to that. But again, 2.7 million on NBCSN, 3.2 million on NBC. Now, I'm kind of surprised that over 3 million people watched that based on how atrocious NBC called that race, but still very nice to see. But now this begs the question. The future of the Daytona road course. Obviously, if COVID-19 did not take place, we would not even be having this conversation of the Daytona road course and NASCAR. But because of this, and now that we have done 4 races if you want to count the ARCA series at the road course, this begs the question. Will NASCAR return to the Daytona road course in the future? And according to people or sources in NASCAR, it looks like to be the case. It looks like that they are looking at considerations and opportunities to have NASCAR run the Daytona road course next year or the year after that, who knows, but in the near future. And I, for one, think it'd be a great idea. I think I was very surprised by how tame the race was. I thought for sure that with no practice, no qualifying, it would just either be a wreck fest or a snooze fest. Now, even though it wasn't a snooze fest, it wasn't a wreck fest, it was sort of in the middle, I guess you could say. Again, if you watch my race review from Daytona on Sunday, make sure you check it out. I thought the race was meh. It was all right. Like 5, 6 out of 10, I want to say. I do think that they need to take a look at the package for future races. I think one of the reasons why the racing might have, been a bit less exciting has to do with the high horsepower and high downforce. If you look at last year, whenever you had high downforce, yes, it was low horsepower, but still high downforce on a road course, not that fun. Not fun at all. Now they needed to do that because if they went with the high horsepower, low downforce, and if they did not add the chicane, they would have entered into turn 1 at 200 plus miles an hour, and you just can't do that. At least not with the brakes the Cup Series has. So good on NASCAR with the chicane and the high horsepower, high downforce. You want to keep it safe, fine. But I think now that you have 4 races on your belts, I think now NASCAR will try and push the issue a bit. Okay, well, let's see. Can we sort of make a package that gives drivers high downforce, but doesn't make them go into turn 1 or go into high braking zones with too much speed? Again, the Cup Series cars' brakes can only handle so much, so it will be interesting to see that if Daytona, the road course, is back on the Cup Series schedule, what will the package be like? Also be interesting as to where they would put it. Now, me personally, I think it'd be a great idea to have it back-to-back. The last race of the regular season is going to be Daytona at night on the oval. Well, why not have the second-to-last race of the season take place on the road course? It's all for the last 2 races, very, very cool opportunities for an unexpected driver to win, or just 2 completely different racing opportunities to close out the regular season. I think we're tired of seeing the mile and a half races, and even Richmond as a regular season finale close out the regular season. I think it add a nice change of pace to have a road course and a super speedway close out the regular season. I think that'd be good for ratings. I think that'd be good for entertainment. It would bring up the drama factor that much more, because at the end of the day, we are in the entertainment business. As much as I don't like that, that's the way things are. So I think there's a very strong chance that the Daytona road course will make a return. And I think if I was NASCAR, I would put it the week before the regular season finale to coincide. Have it the road course, race 25, the super speedway, race 26. But those are my thoughts. Love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. And speaking of 2021, or at least the future of NASCAR schedules, Adam Stern put out this tweet not too long ago. It said, quote, "Several teams are advocating for NASCAR to schedule a significant number of next year's Cup races as one-day shows, given the continued uncertainty and financial issues from coronavirus. Industry stakeholders like the league, track, media partners would need to agree to the move." So basically what they're saying is that we want to see more of what we've been seeing a lot of this year, which is, I'm guessing, go to the track Saturday night or whatever the case may be, no practice, no qualifying, just go to the racetrack, race, and then leave. Or have maybe one qualifying session right before the race, and then go home. Don't have any Friday activities, no Saturday activities, just go there the day you arrive and then leave that same day. I think I won't be surprised if NASCAR makes this move. I think the media partners, the tracks will understand this. I do think, however, this is going to hurt the camping portion of the activity, because I think when you go to a NASCAR race, it's more than just an event. To me, it's like an experience. And a lot of people go to these races specifically for camping. They go there that entire weekend. They go from Friday to Sunday night, sometimes even Monday night. Who knows? You're not going to bring your RV, you're not going to bring everything for one day and then leave. You're just not going to do that, or at least it's very rare you see people do that. So that is going to hurt a lot in terms of that business. Now, I see a lot of people saying, oh, NASCAR doesn't care about their fans. No, they do. But again, you have to be cautious. And that's the issue I feel like with this country, I feel like. As soon as there's a light at the end of the tunnel, everyone just wants to grab at it. Oh, let's go to it right away. Go to it right away. No, you have to slowly work your way up. You can't just, as soon as you see something, opportunity, you can't just jump for it. In a situation like this, you cannot do that. You have to just slowly work your way up. I'm surprised that even NASCAR already this early has allowed fans. For example, I think Homestead was the first time they allowed fans. Talladega were the first 2 races to allow fans. It was really, really quick if you think about it. I think it was in May or June when they first did this. So I think as the weeks go by, you're going to see more and more tracks start to open up to a limited capacity of fans. Starting in 2021, the same thing. You might see a bit more of a opening to allow more fans. But I think it's gonna take a long time since you go back to normality, basically. I think the reason why, for example, Bristol, they announced that no one was, at least the people that got tested, no one was affected with COVID-19. I think part of the reason for that is because only 25% was allowed. It's like, I think if Daytona were to open up, 160,000 plus people in the infield, you're risking a lot. And who knows, it could cause another outbreak. Let's just say that. For example, it could cause another outbreak. So I think it's good that the team or the tracks and NASCAR is limiting the amount of people available, 20%, 25%, maybe only people from a certain radius. I think that's good. I think it's, for the people that are saying that NASCAR doesn't care about their fans, I think you're ridiculous. I think NASCAR, the tracks, everyone involved, they want to get back to normal. You don't think they want to see packed houses? You don't think they want to see packed infields? They do. But they have to be cautious. They have to go slow, right? You're risking a lot here. If NASCAR were to just open everything back up, like, hey, all right, come on in, 100,000 people, who cares? Come back in. That is way too risky, and I don't think NASCAR is going to be willing to do that. And I think it'd be very irresponsible of them to do that. So, I, for one, am okay with this format. These one-day shows have been actually pretty entertaining. Still would like to see qualifying. Just one lap of qualifying. Just one lap. But other than that, I see no issue with these one-day events. I enjoy them, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of them in 2021. And our final two stories revolves around Jimmie Johnson. So Jimmie Johnson appeared on the Dale Jr. Download yesterday, or at least it was uploaded to the internet yesterday, talking about his retirement tour and his future in motorsports. And one thing he talked about was IndyCar. As you know, Johnson did an IndyCar test at IMS with Chip Ganassi Racing just a few weeks ago. And talking to Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's expressed what he wants to do in IndyCar in the future. Take a listen.
We're out trying to find funds and literally trying to raise sponsorship funds to go run the full road course and street circuit schedule that IndyCar has. That would be my dream world, to run 12 or 13 IndyCar races.
That's right. Johnson has stated that they're trying to get funds for a full IndyCar road course schedule, which I believe is around 12 to 13 races. I could be mistaken about that, but somewhere around that range. And this would be huge. Again, if you watch my episode of Inside the Lines earlier in the month, when I talked about Johnson competing in the IndyCar series, this would be huge for the sport. Having a big-time name like Jimmie Johnson, who maybe if not in terms of pop culture, like if you were to ask some random dude across the street, more than likely he might not get Jimmie Johnson. But in terms of the motorsports community, everybody knows him. And there's a lot of NASCAR fans, and I'm sure a lot of stock car racing fans are probably fans of Jimmie Johnson, but might not care about IndyCar. Well, if Jimmie goes over to IndyCar, those fans might take an interest. Be like, okay, Johnson's going there. I'm going to follow him there. Oh, this new thing called IndyCar, let me take a look, see if it's for me. I'm also kind of surprised though that the full IndyCar schedule, or at least on the road course, I thought, maybe 5 or 6 races, maybe test out the waters, but going the full schedule, or at least the full road course schedule, that is pretty big for Jimmie to do. And I think depending on how good that he runs in practice tests, with IndyCar, whether it's with Aero, McLaren SP, or Chip Ganassi Racing, whoever that team may be. Also, you have to look at sponsorship funds. Who knows if Ally will continue working with Jimmie Johnson past 2020. We know they're going to stay in NASCAR, but who knows what the relationship is going to be like with the company and the driver past 2020? They're going to follow him to IndyCar. They're going to follow him to, let's say, IMSA. Who knows? But very interesting to see how Jimmie Johnson's career goes after 2020. Hopefully to see him in IndyCar, and it'll be very cool to see if he can run the full road course schedule. 12 to 13 races. That's going to be fun to watch if he's able to do that next year. And we're going to close out the show with our final story. Also revolves around Jimmie Johnson and his throwback scheme. Now, every year that even though Johnson's paint schemes in terms of the primary cars haven't been the best. 2018 was trash, 2019 was trash, 2020 was meh until they went to the White Lightning, then it became beautiful. One thing that Johnson has always smashed at is his throwback schemes. 2015 when they had the yellow and blue Lowe's car Dale Earnhardt scheme. 2016 I think they had the beige and dark blue or dark light blue Lowe's car. Then they had some throwback schemes to Johnson's 2012 Darlington win. 2019 they threw back to Johnson's days when he was on the truck, when they had the little lightning bolts on the sides and on the front of the car. They have been really good paint schemes. Well, I was always interested into wondering what will Johnson's paint scheme be like for his final season. And on an episode of Dale Jr. Download, he basically released the paint scheme, and here is what it looks like. So you have the Earnhardt colors on the sides, and you have the Petty colors up top. It's a scheme it never crossed my mind, but it makes sense. It's a 7-time champion, his final season. In classic Jimmie Johnson way, we've always known Johnson to be a class act. Instead of having a paint scheme dedicated to him, like for example Dale Jr. did in his final season, he decided to pay homage to the other 7-time champions, the other GOATs of NASCAR, in Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw the leaked image, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. To me, it just looked weird. But now with the renders and we get the full view of the car, I don't know, it's weird, but I like it for some reason. I don't know why. It should not work, with the black on the side and then just Petty blue up top, but for some reason, it actually works. And again, I love the message behind it to pay homage to the two other GOATs of NASCAR, Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty. It's a nice paint scheme, I will admit. I was first, but now I think I've come around to admit I like this scheme. Now with that, Hendrick Motorsports also released paint schemes for Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. So Chase Elliott's scheme is going to be throwing back to Jimmie Johnson's 2009 Lowe's scheme when Johnson won his 4th consecutive championship. William Byron's paint scheme actually throws back to Jimmie Johnson's 2013 All-Star victory, I think when he broke the record for most All-Star wins. A lot of people were wondering why that paint scheme, and I think it has to do with it coincides with Liberty's colors. If you look at the colors of Liberty University, it's red, white, and blue. You get the point. You get the reason as to why they did it. They really didn't have to change much in terms of their colors. They really might have to maybe darken some blue or brighten up some red, but I think that's the reason why Liberty went with that car, because the colors very similar to the colors of their university. And Alex Bowman, finally, he throws back to Johnson's scheme from 2006 to 2008. This is when he won his first to third consecutive series championships. And I must say, those schemes look really, really nice. Byron, Elliott, and Bowman schemes. So far, all of throwback schemes, they have been really, really good so far. So yeah, hopefully, as we get closer into Darlington, we get to see more paint schemes announced in the near future. I will definitely make an Inside the Lines video, showing my reaction to all the paint schemes and grading them from best to worst. Really want to do more reaction paint schemes in the future, so hopefully when we get closer to Darlington, I'll be able to put out a video giving my reactions to this year's paint schemes. But that is going to conclude this episode of Inside the Lines. It is a massive episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's nearly half an hour I've been recording this. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and tell me in the comment section down below what are you guys' thoughts on any of the stories I talked about in this episode, from the future of the Daytona road course to a 5-year-old in Brexton Busch getting a sponsorship. That's crazy. What are your thoughts also on the future of NASCAR video games, and what do you think NASCAR 2021 or whatever the title may be? What are your expectations for that? as well as your thoughts on IndyCar possibly getting a video game in the near future. And finally, the big one, what are your thoughts on Johnson's throwback paint scheme? Do you like it? Do you not? Again, leave all your suggestions down below. But until next time, my name is Jett Cross from MDK, and I'll see you guys next time.